Okay, so have you ever wondered what it would take to completely rewrite a country's entire rulebook? I'm not talking about a few tweaks here and there. I mean a total, from the ground up reinvention. Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving into. It's the incredible story of how Kenya, a nation pushed right to the very brink, completely rewrote its constitution back in 2010. And in doing so, they totally changed the game between the people and the powers that be. So how'd they pull it off, and what does it mean for everyone? Now, to really get why this new rulebook was so essential, we have to rewind the clock. We're going back to a moment of really deep crisis. Think late 2007. Kenya was on the edge, facing a challenge that, honestly, threatened its very foundation as a country. You see, the post-election violence that erupted in 2007 and 2008, that was the ultimate wake-up call. It was a national trauma, and people realized the old constitution wasn't just inadequate, it was seen as part of the problem. Suddenly, this idea of writing a new one, it wasn't just some lofty political goal anymore. No, it became a matter of national survival. But sometimes out of a crisis like that comes this incredible opportunity. And that's exactly what happened. It was this moment where the people of Kenya basically said, okay, if the old rulebook is broken, then we're the ones who are going to write the new one. This is the story of how the people's power really rose to the occasion. So, when we talk about a constitution, what are we really talking about? Well, it's the ultimate rulebook for our country, right? And for decades, Kenya's old rulebook had done one thing really, really well. It concentrated all the power in the hands of a very small group of people. The whole point of this new process was to flip that completely on its head, to write a rulebook built on a totally different idea, that real power belongs to the people. And look, this did not happen overnight. Not even close. As you can see from this timeline, this was a struggle that stretched across almost 50 years. It really started back in 1963 with a constitution that kept power at the center. And then, for decades, amendment after amendment just kept concentrating that power even more. There was a failed attempt at reform in 2005 that the people rejected. But then, after the crisis in 2008, the stars finally aligned. And in 2010, Kenyans voted with a resounding yes. All right, so what did this new rulebook actually change? Let's dig into the really game-changing stuff, the shifts that made this 2010 Constitution so revolutionary. Okay, this comparison right here says it all. I mean, just look at the shift. The old system was completely top-down, right? A centralized government, almost no citizen oversight, and really weak institutions that could be easily controlled. The 2010 Constitution it blows that up entirely. It's built on this radical idea that power belongs to the people. And how's that power used? Through devolved governments, a super comprehensive Bill of Rights, and strong independent commissions. The difference is, it's night and day. And this right here is the core engine of the entire document. Article 1. All sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. Now that might sound like just a nice phrase, but it is so much more than that. For the very first time, the official rulebook says that the ultimate authority doesn't sit with the president, it doesn't sit with parliament, it rests with the citizens themselves. That's a huge deal. Which, of course, leads to the big question, right? So what does that mean? If all the power belongs to the people, how does an ordinary citizen, the mwananchi, as they're known in Swahili, how do they actually feel that change in their everyday life? Well, it starts right here, with what is seriously one of the most comprehensive bills of rights anywhere on the planet. And we're not just talking about the basic political freedoms. This thing guarantees the right to get information from the state so you can hold them accountable. It even establishes the right to things like a clean environment, housing, food, and water as fundamental protections for everyone. And that's why it's seen as so progressive. It goes way beyond just protecting you from the government. It actually defines what the state must actively do for you to make sure you can live a life of dignity. Think about that. That is a profound, fundamental shift in the whole purpose of government. Okay, so giving citizens all these new rights, that's one half of the equation, but it's only half. The other side of the coin is completely rethinking the nature of leadership itself and how the government actually functions day to day. See, the old model kept all the power locked away, far from most people, in the capital city. The new Constitution strategy was brilliant because it was so simple. If power truly belongs to the people, then you've got to bring that power physically closer to the people. And the magic number to make that happen? It was 47. This is what's called devolution. They got rid of the old 8 provinces, which were all controlled from the center, and replaced them with 47 brand new counties, and each one has its own elected government. All of a sudden, big decisions about your local health clinic or your kid's school or the roads in your neighborhood, they weren't being made hundreds of kilometers away anymore. They were being made by people from your own community who you elected. And once you bring power closer to the people like that, you need a totally different kind of leader. The old era of the untouchable, authoritarian, big man, that was supposed to be over. This new constitution demanded a whole new style, democratic leadership, the kind where the entire point of being a leader is to serve the people and to be accountable to them. And they didn't just hope for this, they spelled it out. It's all in the famous Chapter 6, which is all about leadership and integrity. Think of it like a code of conduct for anyone in public office. It says leadership is a public trust. It says leaders have to be honest and transparent, that they can't use their office to get rich, and that they are accountable to the public for what they do. These aren't just suggestions, they're constitutional commands. So, what does this all mean for the future? How does this completely rewritten rulebook continue to shape the nation today and tomorrow? And you know what? It all comes back to where we started, that single powerful line from Article 1. It's not just a declaration. It's a permanent responsibility that's placed on every single citizen. The Constitution is basically saying the power is yours. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The Constitution actually gives every citizen a practical toolkit to use that power. First, you've got to know your rights so you can demand them. Second, you can participate in your local county's governance. Third, you can use that Chapter 6 as a yardstick to hold your leaders accountable. And maybe most important of all, every single citizen has the right to stand up and defend the Constitution if they see it being violated. Because ultimately, this is the whole point. This massive, difficult, nationwide effort to rewrite the rulebook, it wasn't really just about politics. It was about something much deeper, preserving the dignity of every individual and every community, and building a more just society. That's the promise beating at the very heart of the 2010 Constitution. The journey to write this new rulebook was incredibly long and difficult. But here's the thing, the document itself is really just the beginning. The rulebook is there, the power has been handed to the people. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. What does it take, day in and day out, from every citizen to turn that incredible promise on paper into a living, breathing reality for everyone?